Many of us met in the same building a year and a half ago to discuss concerns about Chief Ware's misdemeanor experience in Ohio in 2009. I want to touch on that just briefly tonight for those of you who hadn't heard it. Bryan made a mistake. He sent one text message with one inappropriate attachment to a group, including one juvenile, one time. That says it, 111. He pled guilty to misdemeanors associated with that, and he's paid dearly since then.
In certain terms through all this, I didn't know what grooming was till not Dave, but during the police investigation, I learned what that was. My life was looked inside and out. My computer was taken to a crime lab. Every aspect of me was done. I had to do 2 psychological profiles and a sexual-oriented profile. Those are obviously not part of the public release. Anyone that would ever like to come to the office and look at any of that, I'm more than happy to share that with you. On the underage consumption, I had a cookout at my house with coworkers. I worked at a local marina, and I know that I've seen that term a lot, minors. To me, a minor is someone under 18. I don't know how the legal is. The people that were there that did have some beers, and there were 3 of them that were charged with underage consumption, were 18 to 20-year-olds. The other people that were there were into their 30s. Again, these are just people that I work with. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I haven't made mistakes, because I have.
But you were charged with a crime, convicted, and suspended from the fire department for 3 days.
3-day suspension for that, correct.
Steve, respectfully, and I do respect you, I think that you have missed a lot in this whole process, and I think that you have minimized Bryan's involvement. In fact, I sat down with Bryan and Steve and Bob the other day, and we went through this whole thing. My perspective is this. You have to know, those of you who don't know me personally, I'm a retired sheriff's commander, and I headed a high-tech crime unit at the sheriff's office for 8 years, and we were pioneers across this country in internet enforcement. We arrested 36 of the guys who go after boys and girls in chat rooms. I have been intensively trained in Department of Justice schools in computer forensics, internet crime investigations. I have testified as an expert in both state and federal courts numerous times on these issues. And I want to give you an expert opinion on what I read in these police reports, which Steve did not mention, which is the basis for these charges that Bryan was convicted of. This involved a boy that Bryan was coaching. He was a soccer coach. The boy was 16 years old. There was not just one text message, Steve, one time. There were literally hundreds of text messages using 2 different cell phones that the police processed. In those text messages, numerous times Bryan told the 16-year-old boy that he loved him. And he bought him gifts, an Xbox and something else. And he invited him over for dinner. And they watched television together. Here's my expert opinion. If I were teaching, in fact I do teach, for the last 6 years I've taught University of Phoenix cybercrime and information systems security. And this type of information is a component of my course. This case scenario and the facts that I saw in these police reports, I could present that in my classrooms as a classic pedophile grooming of a young child. Now, I have not seen enough evidence to say that Bryan is a pedophile. I'm not saying that. But I'm giving you an expert opinion. What I read in the police report was pedophile grooming tactics and techniques, whether he knew it or not.
Whatever, we're here to take care of the business of why some other firefighters left and how we're doing here. He's done a fine job. That's what he has done. So I think we need to keep to that and not who likes him and who don't and who's got ideas about what. He's hired, the board has appointed him. That's our fire chief.
Let's move forward.
I've never been accused or confronted or anything about inappropriate behavior with any juvenile. Okay? And I know a lot of you see me with a particular gentleman or young lad that lives here. His mother's sitting in the back of the room. Okay? There's a big mentoring part of that. And I know perception, and that's one of the things, Dave and I talked about. I really want to work on the perception that, cut back on, it's not benefiting me any more than it's benefiting anyone else to have that person in my life, but it's benefiting him gratefully. But that being said, I don't want this perception of this town as someone always have to look over their shoulder going, what is Bryan doing now? Okay? I'm pretty much an open book. I will tell you anything you want to know about me. I do not, I told Steve and the board this before, and I'm sure Steve's going to address this here in a second, but my probation ended a year early this past October. If there was more to this, the charges would not have been dropped down. I would have been found other charges upon me if there was something on my computer. The courts would not have said, okay, time served, let's end it a year early. That's just how I look at it. I know I'm looking at it obviously from my side of the globe.